As 2025 comes to a close, we have driven quite a lot of vehicles over at Allcarnews this year, and many were very impressive. But this all-new 2026 Nissan Leaf honestly has been one of the most impressive cars I have driven this year. Not because it's the quickest or the most expensive or has the most features, but it's just so good. Nissan has brought back the Leaf as a totally redesigned, rethought vehicle. They have made it go incredibly far in range. It looks really sharp, really dynamic, has an incredible amount of features, drives well, is quiet, is affordable. This thing is awesome, and I really have enjoyed driving it over the course of the week. And now I'm really excited to take you guys on a full in-depth tour of all the cool features and what are all the things we like and maybe don't like too much about this all-new 2026 Nissan Leaf. And if you are looking at an EV now and you don't want to be breaking the bank, you have to look at this all-new Nissan Leaf. It is that good. Let's go dive in. So starting under the hood here, we got to talk about what's going on with this Leaf. So as you may know, or not know, this is on an all-new architecture. Gone is the old Leaf of the past. In comes this all-new ground-up Nissan Leaf, and it's sharing a similar architecture with the now outgoing Nissan Ariya EV, which I'm not too sure why they're getting rid of, which I actually really liked, but we gotta get some of the bits here under the skin, which is actually a really good thing. This all-new Leaf, now the entire lineup is getting a 75 kilowatt hour battery pack, just around that. Liquid cooled, we have battery preheating, really great thermal management as well on this vehicle. Lots of great stuff there. And the Leaf remains, for now at least, a front-wheel drive only affair. And I think that's totally fine. It's making around 216-ish horsepower, around 260 pound-feet of torque, and I can tell you now, it's not slow. This thing will like to even spin its front tires if you're kind of going a little bit hard into a corner and flooring it off a stop, which is kind of fun. But the real benefit now with this massive battery pack is the range. The range in this new Leaf can be over 300 miles on the EPA scale. This particular Platinum Plus model with the larger wheels is around 260 miles. And I literally just drove this thing to 0% battery from around 80%, and we went around 230 to 240 miles. And it's been 30 degrees out for the past week, and I only charged it once. This thing's really efficient. It's 0.26 drag coefficient as well, helps with this efficiency. And this whole powertrain's really simple and all compacted right up front over here since it's front wheel drive. So yeah, you don't get a front trunk, but you do get a lot of great storage space in the back. But powertrain wise aside, there's a lot of other cool stuff going on with this Nissan Leaf. Now on the driver's side, we can see we have a charge port door here. So popping open this little charge port door here, we're gonna find a level 2 outlet. Well, that's a little funky. This is an EV, right? Well, it actually has 2 charge port doors. On the driver's side here in the United States, we are getting a level 2 AC charger, which is pretty cool. So you can plug it in, you get around 7.1-ish kilowatts of speed for this level 2 charger. That's all fun and games, right? But let's go hop over to the passenger side. Now over here, we're gonna find another charge port door. This is very similar to what Audi and even Porsche are doing actually now. 2 charge port doors, but in this case on the driver's side you get your level 2 AC charging for at-home charging or on the go if you could find a level 2 charger, and on the right hand side for the passenger you are getting a DC fast charger in the style of the all-new standard in North America, the North American charging standard, the NACS port, aka the Tesla supercharger port. You get that right here, so that's actually really nice. And that also comes with the benefit of now 150 kilowatt DC fast charging and no more CHAdeMO as well. So you got a lot of a big benefit here in terms of charging performance on this Nissan Leaf. And I am very happy to say that the charging curve itself is really good. And of course, that's really important in EVs because that really makes a difference. So if you can sustain those higher speeds all the way throughout the charging curve, further towards that 80% stated charge mark, you'll get a quicker charging time. Nissan estimates around 30 to 35 minutes. We actually did a 0, and I truly mean 0 to around 80% state of charge in around 35 to 40-ish minutes in 35-degree weather with not too much battery preconditioning. This thing's really good at charging now. So yeah, making this vehicle a little bit more modern means it also is a great road tripping car now. It charges quick, it's getting a lot of range, and it's really efficient. There's a lot to like so far about the Nissan Leaf, but we're just getting started. And what I mean by when we're just getting started is I absolutely am obsessed with with the design of this all-new Nissan Leaf. Gone is that really tiny, very squished hatchback, which people loved, but I think we're getting a little bit tired of. Nissan has gone completely out of the ballpark here and made this absolutely awesome looking kind of crossover coupe SUV hatchback style vehicle, and I'm all for it. I think the design on the new Leaf is top tier, and up front here we're getting these really sharp and distinctive LED headlights here with this really cool pattern design in it. We have really bright LED lights on the interior as well, and I also like the little Leaf badge up here with this front light bar. We're also getting a glowing Nissan badge as well. Now, some of this stuff is particular to the Nissan Leaf Platinum Plus we have right here. Throughout the lineup, generally, everything's pretty much the same, just save some of the more nicer, fancier features that you don't necessarily need, but it's kind of cool to have. Also up front here, we have a very, very smooth surface area, a very short and low hood. This is all helping for that low 0.26 drag coefficient as well. And on the lower portion down here, we do have a little bit of some cooling as well as a camera and our radar sensor here for our radar adaptive cruise control. Now this one, since it is a Platinum Plus, is also getting a two-tone paint finish. So we have this gorgeous deep red color over a black painted roof. Other trims have more singular color, full body color paint options, but I think there is actually a really great breadth of colors that Nissan is offering for this all new 2026 Leaf. And I love to see that in a world where so many cars are just white, gray, and black. Thank you, Nissan. Back over on the side, this particular Platinum Plus model is also getting the top tier wheel. So we have the 19-inch wheel on this particular one, which I think may be one of the reasons why the range goes down to around 260 versus 303 miles in the other Leafs. Nonetheless, I think these wheels look absolutely awesome. I'm obsessed with this really cool design Nissan is kind of doing throughout the whole theme of the vehicle. I really like that. We have Bridgestone tires on here as well. And I have to say, overall, this is a pretty quiet wheel and tire package. I really don't hear a lot of road noise and stuff coming inside the cabin. I do notice some very, very, very minor bumps, intrusions coming from the wheel section of this area on the road, but I think that would be solved with the other vehicles of the Leaf lineup having a little bit of smaller tire. Nonetheless though, this thing still rides absolutely fantastic since we have a multi-link suspension out back, McPherson strap suspension up front. So Nissan really has nailed it, I think, in the ride and handling department as well, but we'll get to that in our driving impressions of this video. Even the door handle situation on this all-new Leaf is pretty funky. Out back here, we have a door handle melded right into this C-pillar back here, meant for aerodynamics, so it's still really easy to open and close it back here. But up front here, they wanted to maintain that sleek profile, so we actually get a pop-out door handle up front, which is a pretty cool touch here. It works really well, and we even have optional auto unlock and lock when you just come up to and walk away from the vehicle, which is a really nice touch in a Nissan Leaf. And the cool features don't stop all the way up front either. Out back here, I love the design of this Leaf. It's just so cool and dynamic. And of course, we're also getting roof rails, which are painted black for this particular one as well, which is a really nice touch. Now, we don't have a rear wiper, but we do have, of course, this sleek piece of glass. It is heated. And honestly, I really haven't had any issues this week with snow or rain on this because it kind of just blows off of it really easily. Almost a little ducktail integrated spoiler back here. And then there's this awesome rear scallop end of this in this section here with these insane taillights. Now, these taillights are pretty cool. So actually, we have these two lines right here, which represents ni, or two in Japanese, and then we have three pieces right here, which represents three, or san. So combined together, it's Nissan. You're kind of getting the little theme here, and we can kind of find this motif spread out across the design of this vehicle, which is a really cool little touch. There's more of this really cool touches on the interior, which we'll get into in a second, but I also like how we have the Nissan spelled out back here and the Leaf badge and this kind of cool graphite-esque design. And these taillights are actually exclusive to this Platinum Plus. Other Leafs don't get these awesome holographic style taillights, which I think is pretty cool, but I would get this model just to get them, honestly. And popping open the trunk on our Platinum Plus model, we're getting a power rear tailgate. And honestly, there's a really large amount of storage space back here as well. With the seats up, we get around 20 cubic feet of cargo space, but there's this really clever kind of storage solution over here that you can pop up and have it in this little divider section piece right here. There's a little bit of some underfloor storage as well. And even this back panel also can be moved around. And they're really these cool, thick, very light, easy to move panels. And on the carpet design back here, we kind of see that Nissan style motif on here as well, which is a really cool touch. Also kind of similar in the style of the Japanese cloud representation, which we'll get to on the interior, which is kind of a cool little Easter egg there as well. But for this Platinum Plus model, I definitely would honestly get this one because we have a power rear tailgate. How could you not go without that? And it's really easy to operate and has a locking function as well. Another great touch with the Leaf now is we also are getting AC power port. So I could, in theory, plug this into this port back here on the trunk and we'll have some functioning Christmas lights. And oh, well, you look at that. Here we go. Now, getting in the rear seats of this all-new Nissan Leaf, we have our little concealed door handle up here, which is a nice touch. Let's see how wide the doors open. Pretty wide, actually. Not a full, entirely 90-degree angle, but I'm pretty happy with this. I think that makes getting in and out really easy. Let's go hop inside and see what we're getting in this all-new Nissan Leaf. Okay, guys, hopping inside now. Let's close up the door and listen to this door thunk we got on the all-new Leaf. Pretty solid, and even for a prototype vehicle that we're in, I think it sounds pretty good. Now, the back of the Leaf hasn't always been the biggest space, and I am happy to report now that while this is still a relatively small vehicle, I can fit back here actually pretty well in front of my driving position. So I would say my feet are a little bit on the squishier side, but I can still have some foot space to put them back there. We are also getting a storage cubby on the back of the front driver and passenger seat, which is a nice touch. And I have plenty of knee space and just vertical and horizontal leg room as well, which is really nice. Now on the door panels over here on this particular Platinum Plus trim, we can get a few different interior color options, but this one is the tailor fit interior. It may not be leather, but it feels pretty nice as well. It's a kind of a synthetic leatherette style material. On the doors, we have this really cool kind of recycled knit fabric style design with these blue little accents in there, which is a nice touch. Regular harder plastics down here. We have a nice gloss black window switch over here, a little bit of a storage cubby, and some nice soft touch padding over here for our arms. The door pockets themselves has a decent amount of storage in them, and this one is getting the upgraded Bose audio system as well. So we have some speakers down there for that. Also with this Platinum Plus model, we are getting heated outboard rear seats. So we have 3-stage heating on the both outboard seats for the rear passengers, which is absolutely awesome. And we have our own air vents back here as well in this really cool pattern design theme. Down here, we're also getting another household style outlet, which is awesome to see, 120 volts, and 2 USB-C ports, which do illuminate at night. And everything in here is very, very solid. I like that a lot. And I love this carpet that Nissan's doing down here with our flat floor. Again, we can kind of see that Nissan style design motif down here as well, which is really cool. And even on the seats as well. And we're also finding a 2-tone color theme back here. So these are almost this kind of like bluish esque piece over here, contrasting over the black. We even are getting almost like a blue style, silverish blue seatbelt back here as well, which is really, really cool. And since we have a lot of space back here now, we also are getting a nice very squishy center armrest with 2 cup holders, which are really quite huge in here. And if you look really closely inside of here, we have this really cool kind of cloud design motif and this really interesting line pattern in here, which kind of is mimicked on the seats themselves. Really cool touch there, Nissan. Now, also back here, we are getting the Platinum Plus exclusive electrochroamatic roof over here. So this roof, as you can see right now, is not transparent, and we can press the little button up front there, and that will kind of pull back these panels. You can do it front or back, and it's a really cool little Easter egg in here where you can do it halfway, and the Leaf logo up here in the middle displays, which I think is a really cool little touch. And you can kind of flip this back and front. There is no full power sunshade that covers this piece of glass, but I have to say this non-transparent mode over here really does actually help to eliminate sun coming in it. There is also, I believe, a UV coating on here as well. Now we're also getting our own LED lights back here, which are touch activated. I like how they are LED. You can even control them for a few different brightness levels. And we have our own grab handles back here if you're being whipped around in a Nissan Leaf. I am happy to report though that headroom in here is actually really, really good. I can kind of rest all the way back and I still have about maybe an inch of headspace back here, but my head is not touching the roof, which is really nice. So even with this sloping roof line on this all-new Nissan Leaf, you could actually fit someone in the back seat that is an adult and not a child, and I am 6 feet tall, for example. Okay guys, hopping up front, we have our Nissan key fob here. Nothing too crazy, very familiar, and I can just enter inside of our Nissan Leaf. And we gotta talk about the front end of this cabin because it is wild. So on the door cards, just like in the rear seats, we're getting that really cool kind of knit fabric-esque design on the upper portion, though up here we're getting a soft touch center portion over here with an ambient light strip, as you can see on the door panel right there. Really nice squishy armrest, a little bit of a larger door pocket design over here, and really nice switch gear and buttons in here, as well as memory seats. Now the driver's seat up front here in this tailor fit fabric here is getting power lumbar as well as power seat adjustments as well, which I think is a nice touch. And we're getting that same really cool pattern that we saw in the rear seats. And these are Nissan's zero gravity seats as well, which are really comfortable. Now, also what you're going to know about the Leaf is just how open this front floor space is. This is really to help free up a lot of legroom, even though this is a rather small vehicle overall. And we're getting that really cool Nissan style design motif on the lower side sill, on the carpet as well, even on our center console over here, which is a really cool storage space. But let's hop inside and dive a little bit deeper into this cabin. Getting in is really easy up front here. We have a huge door opening right here, which is nice. Closing up the door, pretty solid thunk we got there. And have a look at this all new cabin. Off the bat, I actually really love this cabin, but all of the Leafs actually pretty much look almost the same as this, which is awesome to see at a vehicle that starts just around $30,000. Now, we have this steering wheel here, which every single Leaf gets a leatherette wrapped steering wheel with stitching as well, which is a really nice touch. And we have physical buttons on here. They may look haptic, and yeah, they're covered in gloss black, but they all work really well. And there is actually a real click you got to press to use them, which is nice. And we have physical controls inside the buttons as well. On the right hand side over here, we can control our digital cluster as well, which has so much stuff going on in it, which we'll look at in just a second. And we're also getting paddle shifters back here, which actually feel very solid and don't make it a loud plastic clicking sound. So it actually is a nice way to control a few different levels of regenerative braking. Now this one, since it is a Platinum Plus, is getting the largest version of this dual screen layout. Every Leaf gets a dual screen layout. This is just the larger ones. It's around 14.5 dual screens over here, which is crazy huge. And we're also getting a heads-up display up here as well in this particular Leaf Platinum Plus. We have a brightness adjustment right up here, which is really easy to control, as well as our traditional Nissan, day and night modes as well over there. And we're also getting automatic headlights as well as automatic wipers on this particular one as well. Really nice stuff. And Nissan did not leave out hard buttons. Coming down over here, we're going to find a whole host of them for our auto hold, for our heated steering wheel, for our heads-up display, to turn on and off our AC power ports in the vehicle as well, for to turn on and off lane keep assist, and to open up the trunk. Now this screen, again, we've seen this on a lot of Nissan products. It's extremely configurable. We have our home screen here. We can scroll up and down. Lots of really great stuff. We can go to our trip computer screen over here, which gives us great information. We also can see some tire pressure information and a lot of great battery information as well. I love these graphics. They're so crystal clear. We can throw up our Google Maps. We have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is wireless, and that can display Waze or Apple Maps in here as well, which is awesome. We can have our music come up here. We have our Pilot Assist display as well. And we have a huge host of settings built into up here, which I always kind of give Nissan some slack, a little bit of some criticism for, because I don't like all this stuff shoved in here, and there's some settings here and they're kind of all over the place, but I've kind of gotten a little used to it, so I'll kind of tone it down because I like this car so much overall. But there is a lot of settings in the display up here that you can only use while parked, which you probably only should use while parked. So you could have traditional circular gauges if you would like as well. And we get drive modes. So we actually have a few different drive modes, from eco to standard, sport, and a personal configurable drive mode as well, which is really great. And we have Nissan's e-step function, which is not a full one-pedal drive, which this vehicle does not have, but it kind of acts almost as a full-ish one-pedal drive in terms of full force regenerative braking. You can see it's on up here as well. But we do have auto hold, so you just kind of give the brakes a little light tap and you kind of have one pedal driving there, which is kind of interesting, but I would like to see that feature included at some point. But another great feature about this is if you press this button right here, it switches the controls over to our infotainment display. So now from the steering wheel, I can control the infotainment display. In the center console area, we're getting a more physical button. So we have our shifter over here for park, reverse, neutral, drive. Really huge buttons, really easy to use. I really don't have an issue with this. Honestly, it's just so simple. And a quick access button for our cameras, which are so impressive and huge on this display. We're getting a full 360 view, as well as these really great wide angle views of both the front tires, which is great, as well as up front here. So you got this really wide angle view, and all of this translates up to the rear as well. So yeah, we get these cool 3D views over here. You can change the color of the vehicle to match it to be your actual Leaf color as well, which I absolutely love in the settings panel. Now this is also a 14.5-inch touchscreen display, but right below it is this panel of these capacitive touch buttons for our climate system. So yeah, we actually get a separated climate buttons over here, which is nice. They're a little far and kind of deep in here to use sometimes. You can kind of see they're kind of built into here, but we do get some haptic feedback as well as some audio feedback as well. And there is some more buttons up here for our heated seats as well, heated steering wheel up front, auto. We can also open up the full climate panel over here as we just saw before, or use it with the steering wheel. So you've got a lot of different ways to interact with this stuff, so you're not stuck to just having everything be in the touchscreen. And moving down in the center console space, again, really great open floor kind of concept over here. And we have a little bit of an Easter egg here from the Nissan Ariya. Just like in that vehicle, we have this really cool hidden storage cubby down here. So pop that open. It's not power like it is in the Ariya, but we have some more storage down here, which is a really nice touch, and it's really easy to use as well. There's also a 12-volt socket back down there. Now this center console storage over here is really big. So we have two gigantic cup holders over here, which is really great. You can fit some pretty tall cups in here as well. Another little storage cubby up front over here. You can put your phone in if you would like, which is a nice feature. And we got two USB-C ports down here. And if you look closely into the cup holders themselves, we get, again, that really cool kind of cloud design motif that we're also going to find in our wireless charging mat, which is right up here. Really cool, convenient place to throw your phone in. It doesn't really charge my phone that well, but it is a cool place to just put your phone, honestly. And we have our center armrest over here. I will be honest, this could be a little bit more squishy, but I think it's totally fine. Overall, it's not like the hardest thing. I've been in some worse ones. And opening this up, we do get a decent amount of storage space in here as well. So you can put your sunglasses and stuff in here if you want to. I wish there was some felt lining in here. That would have been nice. And we have another little Easter egg right over here in the corner of our wireless charger. This is a ginkgo leaf right here. So this is a tree that grows in Japan. Really cool little kind of design motif there. We are still getting a traditional glove box as well. Decent sizing. We have illumination in there, which is really nice. And we do have our own space up here to put our sunglasses. And this does get some felt, but I would like to see some more felt in this cabin, especially in this center console over here. Things kind of roll around a lot and it gets a little bit loud hitting on plastic. And I mentioned we can see a little bit closer up now of these Bose headrest speaker systems over here, which work actually quite nice. And I also have to point out this awesome electrochroamatic roof design up here. So we have our little controller here for that, and it works either way. So I can push it forward or back, and watch what happens when I do that. So we get these little panels that kind of open up for us here. And in the halfway mode, you can see we have the leaf emblem right there, which is such a cool little touch. I really like that. Or you can open up completely fully there. But we got to talk about this software as well, because it's actually not the same software you're going to get in every version of the Leaf. This is the more advanced Google-based software we're getting in the higher end versions of the Leaf. And I have to say, it works awesome. It is quick. It's snappy. We have a quick access shortcut panel over here, which kind of allows us to control that really cool 3D effect of our headrest speakers and some audio settings. But the EV pages on here are fantastic. I was a little bit nervous coming into the Leaf because some Japanese EVs are just awful when it comes to EV information. I really don't know why. Not the Leaf. You get so much great information on here, and the graphics are super crystal clear. So this vehicle has basically a plug to charge. So the Nissan Energy Charging Network here allows you to sign into all of your charging networks, from like the Tesla superchargers to electrochroamatic, all the fun stuff. And you literally just plug in and go once you set that up with the Nissan app. So that is awesome to see that this car has plug and charge. Other great stuff in here is you can kind of have these other quick little hotkey buttons you can set up here. So we have the interior ambient light controls here, which is extremely extensive for a Nissan Leaf. I'm really happy we have this ability in the cabin here. So you can see that kind of bar going across the cabin here. You can pick any color you want, which is really awesome. Hey Google, turn on the rear defrost.
All right. Turn on the defroster.
I guess you just have to be a little bit more specific, but it is actually a pretty quick, snappy system. If you've used Google kind of voice assistant as well, it works pretty well. Really great stuff going on in this cabin. I'm impressed. I've really enjoyed driving it this week, and it's really quiet in here. It reminds me of the Volvo EX30 we reviewed, but honestly better. If anything, a little bit more quieter, even more refined, actually. That's how good this new Nissan Leaf is, I have to say. Let's go take this thing out on a drive to see what it's like on the road, because that is another great part of buying this all-new 2026 Nissan Leaf. This is one of the things that has really been impressive to me over the course of this week, is how this vehicle drives on the road. You know, the suspension is really nice. We have a multi-link setup out back, just the traditional McPherson strut style up front. But with this low center of gravity, and on top of it with the overall just dimensions of the vehicle, it handles itself really, really well on the roads. I drove this vehicle down past 0% state of charge this week of testing, and it kept going. And we had over around 230 plus miles of range from around 80%. So that extra 20%, I honestly, I think it could go a little bit further than its EPA mile range claim, and that's pretty impressive. We'll pop it into sport mode here just for a second. We're at 50% state of charge, and I will say over this week I haven't noticed any sort of, you know, low battery loss of power situations. This thing does like to spin its front tires sometimes with all of that instant electric torque and power, which is kind of a fun little feature here. You got more power in the Leaf now, kind of cool, but that doesn't go to say that this car feels unstable at all. It's actually really confidence inspiring. We have a lot of regen levels here just as we come to a stop. So these paddle shifters are actually really nice as well. And it actually increases as you go lower in the battery pack, we've noticed over this week of testing. So when you're higher in the battery pack at around 80 to 90% state of charge, you don't have as much regenerative braking, which I guess kind of makes sense. The only weird thing with this car is you don't get one pedal drive. You do have auto brake hold over here, and we have Nissan's e-step function here. So that essentially is full force regenerative braking, but it doesn't bring you to a full complete stop, unfortunately, which I think is a little funky. This e-step mode I think is okay. I've noticed it moves the brake pedal like the Mercedes EVs, which I am not really a big fan of. I think it's kind of scary feeling. So I honestly have just been playing with the the regenerative braking modes on the steering wheel over the course of this week. So I'm going to turn off e-step there, and now we've moved up to standard mode. Now there is a difference between standard and the regular eco mode. Eco mode, you definitely notice the acceleration is just a little bit more damped than in standard mode. You kind of feel like there's a little bit more free power in this standard mode versus eco, and that would make sense. So there is a true difference there. But again, going back to my little suspension conversation here, this car reminds me a lot in a lot of great ways of the Volvo EX30. I thought that car drove and handled itself really well. It was really quiet, pretty solid over bumps, and I feel that here as well in this vehicle. It does not feel cheap at all. It feels like a premium, solid, well-built product, and that is really impressive to me. And since it's kind of shared around the Nissan Ariya's architecture, which I loved on this channel just because of how competent and how comfortable it was, even though it's going away, for whatever reason Nissan's decided to do that, it got a lot of these same bones here, which I think is great. So going over, you know, sewer drains or bumps in the road, it handles it with such great, you know, poise, I would say, in this chassis. You don't get any jitters or bumps ever. Even on these larger 19-inch wheels, it's just so well tuned over, you know, the road, and that has to do with the lower center of gravity. This really rigid chassis as well. It's 30% plus 30% stiffer, I believe, than the last generation Nissan Leaf. Steering, you know, there's no feel, but with front wheel drive as well, you kind of get some good, you know, control of the vehicle, and it's not overly light. There's a little bit of some just natural weight to it, and I have to say it just drives itself very neutral, very composed. There's some body roll, but it's very well controlled throughout the corners as well. Coming to a stop, I'm going to test out our regen paddles. It almost feels like the car is downshifting in a sense, which is kind of cool. A lot of EVs do these regen paddles. These ones work really well. I was just a little stumped at the beginning of the week when I was using all 4 regen levels and no slowdown was happening. I was like, what's going on? But it just turns out you need to be lower in this battery pack to get use of these paddles, which is an interesting note here. This thing just loves to smoke its tires on a corner and just lightly tapping on the throttle. That's what you get in these EVs these days as well. And going around a corner, really strong power coming out of a corner. Like I mentioned, it has a lot of confidence, this car, driving it, which I really like. Really well handle those bumps there. I really feel that solidity in this chassis, which is nice. look, and we'll turn off our regenerative braking here, and we'll get a quick acceleration. In sport mode, you can hear the motor whine up a little bit when you kind of accelerate. I'll shut up. Not sure if that's coming across on camera, but in the background, you have a little bit of this electric motor whine. You can kind of hear that, which is kind of cool. But this thing is competently fast. It's quick. It's not slow whatsoever. You know, around 214 horsepower, 260 pound-feet of torque is very well respectable, I would say, for the size of vehicle. And since it's electric, you get the added benefit of the instant torque. Now, on the highway here, I'll pop it back into standard mode for us right now. It's really quiet, actually. Now, I'm gonna say that even though you may hear some wind noise, it is incredibly windy this week. We have like 20-mile-per-hour wind gusts, so that's a little bit of an unusual factor here. But we have a completely flat underbody. There's a really sleek aerodynamic shape on this Leaf. We have a 0.26 drag coefficient. You know, this thing handles itself very well on the highway, and you can see we're going at highway speeds right now, and it doesn't feel like you're traveling at that speed. I have that issue in a lot of cheaper economy vehicles or just lower cost vehicles. They don't really tune themselves really well for higher highway speeds. This is different. It actually handles itself really well, and I love the heads-up display information on this Platinum Plus one. Now, of course, we have our Nissan Pilot Assist systems on here. So easy to activate. You just prop the little button on and set your speed to go, and that's it. You know, these systems are pretty easy these days, and we've tested this in a whole host of different Nissan products. You have full steering assist as well, so it will keep you centered in the lane and steer you around corners. It's not a simple lane keep assist. There's no advanced features though. There's no hands off, there's no lane change assist or anything like that. So if you pop on your blinker, for example, it just deactivates the steering assist function right there, so it's not, you know, grabbing you back into the lane, which I think is, you know, a good thing to do. You know, just kind of taking it through this corner here at a higher rate of speed, you just feel so planted. And I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and honestly, I don't even think this is out on a limb. I think this overall feels like a much better package than even the updated Subaru Solterra / Toyota BZ we just drove. And that is a bigger vehicle for sure, but this just feels like a class above that car in a sense. It just feels more solid, more premium, and overall just more refined than those vehicles. Now, we do have the upgraded Bose audio system in this vehicle as well, which is actually really impressive. We have headrest speakers, and you can adjust your, you know, surround sound level of that headrest speaker system right there. I have to say, for a vehicle in this price range, in this class, this is a really good audio system. I mean, this audio system alone, I think, is worth upgrading to the Platinum. It's actually really good. It reminds me of the higher end Bose audio systems you'll find in like some of the Mazda products in a sense, and even in, you know, some higher, more expensive Nissan products, the higher end Bose systems. This one's really impressive. These headrest speakers legitimately work. It's really smart tech, and you know, that's just the common theme I've had with this Nissan Leaf over the course of this week of testing. Everything in this car is really smart. It works well, it's well integrated, the software is really great. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything in this vehicle. Great job, Nissan, I really have to say. So consider this if you're looking for something in this class. Maybe they'll add all-wheel drive in the future. Maybe we'll get a silly Nismo variant. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of potential for this car to grow and expand in the Nissan lineup. It's really that impressive. And as always, guys, as we come to a conclusion of our drive, thank you for joining us on yet another drive and review over at Allcarnews. And as always, stay tuned for more coming soon. Cheers.